Hi there, this is Lori Edge-Hughes, and this is your 4-Leg Rehab Minute. And today I want to talk to you about clinical reasoning, critical thinking. Anyways, kind of tying into last week's blog, that was February 13th, 14th, and this 3-part series on progressing exercise, because it actually fits in a little bit, but it covers so much more about, okay, so let's put it in front, you've got a case that you don't know what to do with, or you are confronted with a question. So let's say it's, how much is too much exercise for a dog? Or has anybody treated GULP, right? Geriatric onset laryngeal paralysis and polyneuropathy, or syringomyelia, or whatever other thing that maybe you've not seen before. And instead of going, okay, does anybody have, like, what's your protocol? What do you do? What can you ask yourself to help guide you to an answer? So, for example, let's say your syringomyelia and your GULP. There isn't anything in the research that says, oh, well, here's what rehab can do for that. But you can totally come up with a plan. So let's say instead of the thought process, or if your original question is, what am I going to do with this GULP case or this syringomyelia case? So what are the questions that you can ask? So first question is, where's the root of that problem? Well, let's see. Syringomyelia, compression at the brainstem. Laryngeal paralysis. Well, that's problem with the larynx. What supplies the larynx? The recurrent laryngeal nerve. Where does the recurrent laryngeal nerve come off of? The vagus nerve. Where does the vagus nerve come from? The brainstem. So let's say from that knowledge, I can say, well, I could try lasering the brainstem and see what happens. And which I will tell you, I've done that for both of those, and I quite like that as a treatment technique. But that's how I came to it, is by asking a question that helps to get me closer to an answer to an original question for which there is no answer, right? So it's the critical reasoning. So go down the path of how much exercise is too much. Well, instead of looking for an answer that is 25 minutes is too much exercise, or an hour, or 5 hours. We know that's very dependent on so many different factors. So instead, why not say, well, what would you see if an animal was exercising too much? Where do we have that information? Human athletes, or even canine athletes. What do we see? Well, let's see. Tendons start to break down. Human athletes, you get sick, more prone to colds and so overtraining can lead to other health issues, right? So that starts to guide you in knowing what the answer is going to be, or what you're going to look for, because there is no answer to some of these questions. Okay, so 3.5 more minutes. Anyways, that's what I want to talk about, is the stuff in here, okay? So your critical reasoning, your clinical reasoning, your thought processing, deductive reasoning, all the rest that is so important when we're in a field like this, where we don't have all of the research to back up everything or every question we might potentially have. Really, we don't have it in humans either. But this is my point, is when you're trying to answer an unanswerable question, ask yourself the questions that you can answer so that it can guide you to what you might try. There you go. So 4.5 minutes. Until next time, cheers.